What about droning U.S. citizens without due process of law?
Droning U.S. citizens? I don't believe that.
Anwar al-Awlaki was a U.S. citizen who was in Yemen, and because they said he was involved with Al-Qaeda somehow, and he was droned.
He was accused of being a top leader, actually, within the Al-Qaeda network.
Right.
Actually born in Colorado. His 16-year-old son was with him. They were both killed in a drone strike.
His son was an American citizen too.
Well, this goes back to trusting that they're making, that they sometimes have to make these snap decisions to, if they believe that he was a top target and this is the only time that we could ever get him, or before he caused mass casualties, then we have to trust that they made that decision on that basis. But like I said, we need to make sure that we keep the president, any president for that matter, from now on, we need to make sure that we can control how he does these drone strikes and not just leave it in the hands of himself. I'm not sure how they do that right now, but we need to make sure that we can take care of that.
So you would say that the decision-making process on what goes into designating drone targets should probably be set forward clearly?
Yes, I believe that that he should have some kind of... I don't know if this is how it works or not, but he himself should not be able to do drone strikes. It should be some kind of military committee.
Well, the targets right now are terror suspects. They are not ever put on trial. They are not convicted of any crime. So he is subject, just executing US citizens.
Well, you have the example of Flight 97, where the plane had been taken over. Those were considered terror suspects, but the people on that plane knew they needed to act, and they took down the terrorists, and they were lucky enough to diminish casualties by putting it down in that field instead of it going to the White House.
Yeah, I mean, our belief is that the United States of America should never, in no circumstance, negotiate with terrorists or any terrorist organization. Obviously, we can negotiate with different world powers, but of this extreme, we should never negotiate in any sense. If we believe that person is threatening the United States in any form or way, then I hope that the people in that room, they would not use their powers, they would not outreach the bounds of their powers, and they would make the right decision in this case and make sure that strike is the only decision that we can make.
This question is to Fritz. In a September 17th article in the Georgian, you stated, I quote, "If Iran continues to thumb its nose at the world and the UN's nuclear non-proliferation treaty, we are going to have no choice but to use force to make sure its nuclear program is shut down." Now, given this standard that those who thumb their nose at the world and the UN's NPT should be met with military force, what is your view on the fact that Israel, along with India and Pakistan, are non-signatory of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty? And based on a September 20th article in AFP, quote, "Israel will not attend a UN-organized conference on the creation of a nuclear-free Middle East scheduled to take place in Finland." With these facts in mind, would it be fair to say that Israel is also, quote, thumbing its nose at the world and the UN's nuclear non-proliferation treaty? If so, using the logic put forward in reference to Iran, is military force justified to end Israel's nuclear program? If you could explain.
I think that Israel is a very interesting topic when it comes to the Middle East, because they are not seen as a sovereign nation by most Middle East countries. I believe that they require extraordinary measures to keep their safety and to keep their sovereignty. Do they need nuclear assistance? I can't say. I'm not an expert on that, but I do believe that any more nuclear arsenals in the world, we don't need any more nuclear arsenals in the world. We need more anti-continental ballistic missile defense systems, like with the one we had in Russia that got taken away very early in Obama's presidency. So
Interestingly, Israeli Jews would agree with you because there was a poll conducted in 2011 about the international attitude towards nuclear weapons, and 64% Israeli Jews favored establishing a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East, including their own country. So, when we talk about Iran, what about, but Israel has been upgrading its nuclear capacities. What do you have to say about that?
I feel like that Israel feels like it's literally, they feel like they're going to get wiped off the face of the earth because Iran has been saying for the past decade that they are going to wipe them off the face of the earth. They need to be able to be protected. However, I think that we need to as the international community, we need to move towards total nuclear disarmament and more towards preventative measures such as the missile shields that we have in Eastern Europe, things like that, to where if a rogue nation ever does get a nuclear weapon, that we can take it out with as few casualties as possible.
Mr. Chapin, in a recent article in the Georgian, you stated that it is not the government's responsibility to decide what is and is not a marriage. Why is that? I believe that when it comes to you're referencing my same-sex marriage article. When it comes to marriage, I believe that we get terms differentiated. Marriage is a religious institution. The word to be married is to be a union under God. I think that people get hung up on the word marriage when we could use civil union to have the same rights under the government. A marriage is a civil union. So I feel like civil unions to where same-sex people can have the same rights, tax benefits, health benefits, things like that, I think that's fine. But when you start using the word marriage, it's completely different.
So the distinction is semantic?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that we get hung up on the word marriage when we need to be focusing on the rights that come with the civil rights that come with marriage.
So you're for civil union?
I'm for civil unions and them having the same opportunities under the government. However, I don't think the government should use the word marriage because marriage is a religious institution.